When you start a small business, it's so easy to feel stuck or feel like you're being stagnant in your progress. So if you're new here, my name is Indy. I'm known as Do This by Indy on Instagram and TikTok. I've been running my small business for the past 4 or so years now. So today I'm gonna be going through 5 tactics and mindset shifts to help you grow your business. So the first tip, and it's a big one, it is to decide what's important for you to invest in. You can ideally spend your money on anything, but when you first start out on a small business, you can't spend it on everything. Otherwise, you'll go broke. So you really have to choose what's important to you and what you can take out. You have to decide what's a need versus something that's just nice to have. For me, what was important was inventory. This meant paying manufacturers to make my pins, my keychains, or anything that I couldn't really make at home. What I could do at home that doesn't cost me a fortune is the packaging. At the time when I first started my small business, I feel like I saw packaging as something that just wrapped up your order and people just ripped it up and threw it away anyway. So it wasn't something that I wanted to invest heavily in. So instead, I made my own packaging. I bought the most cost-friendly white plain tissue paper. I bought some plain brown, I think, envelopes, and then I made my own stickers as like sealers and decorative stickers to put on the envelope. And then over time, after investing a lot into inventory, what was important to me was selling it at a place where there was a high volume of traffic. So that's why my next step in investments is in market. For me, I've been in markets for the past year or so. So probably half my small business journey, I've been in markets, and it's still one of my biggest revenue drivers. So definitely investing in markets, for me at least, was something that was super important. So as you're starting your business, list out all the things that are important to you and things that is going to make you money so that you can reinvest it somewhere else versus things that are not necessarily going to impact your business. Which brings me to my next point and my next tip of reinvesting in your business. So for me, I've always had a full-time job while running my small business. So I've always felt that like security or that financial security to try new things for my small business. However, I didn't want to get to a point where I was so reckless in spending my money left and right, because at the end of the day, I still needed my full-time job's paycheck to, pay for bills and things like that. So what I did was, when I started making a decent amount of money from my small business, I opened a checking account or a business account just for my small business. Keep in mind, you don't necessarily have to, open a brand new bank account just for your small business and to separate the two. You can simply set a certain amount to your small business and track it on Excel or something. But for me, I just felt like it was so much easier to have 2 separate places for my different incomes. I feel like if I only had one account that managed both my personal finances and my small business finances, it would be so easy for me to be like, oh, I'll just take another 100 from my personal account and like spend it for my small business, and then another 100, and so on and so forth. I feel like there won't be like a cap in which I would stop. Whereas if I had 2 separate places for both my small business and my personal, it's just that small business amount that I'm gonna be playing with. Till this day, since I opened a account for my small business, I haven't moved money from my personal account to my small business account. I've just been using and spending through that account. And when it comes to the amount that you want to start off with, you have to think about realistically, 1, how much can you afford to invest in your small business, and 2, how much can you get out of using X amount of money. For me, like I said earlier, what was important to me was inventory and market fees. So how many markets can I attend with the amount of money that I put in? How much inventory can I get out of this money? The key is really to plan everything out so that you can break even. For example, if you are putting in $1,000 to start off with and you want to invest half into markets and half into inventory, and I'm just making that split up to make it easier. And say each market fee is about $50, and so you have $500 for markets and then $500 for inventory. And say for markets, it's $50 per market that you want to attend. So realistically, you can attend 10 markets with that money. So to break even with these 10 markets that you're about to attend and making that $1,000 back, you will have to make about $100 per market. You have to think about those 10 markets that you're going to attend. Can you make realistically $100 per market? Is that a achievable, realistic number? And two, do you have enough inventory for you to make $100 per market? So those are just some things that you should think about when planning on how you're going to be spending your money and reinvesting in it. So when it comes to planning, those are some of the questions that I ask of how I'm going to be breaking even. And once you do break even, but hopefully the goal is to actually make more than the example of $100 per market, because once you make a little bit more than you're intending to, you already broke even and you're starting to be in the positive realm. And from there, that money I like to invest in other things. Once I have my core things that are important to me invested, again, markets, inventory, I try to see if I can move forward with the nice to have. So the nice to haves for me is packaging. So do I have enough money to do markets, have enough inventory, have a variety of different categories within your inventory to have like a good table display or a good website assortment? That's when I feel comfortable enough to move to those nice to haves in my reinvestments. My next tip is something that's kind of hard to hear but is needed. It is to increase your prices. And that's not to say that you should be overcharging your customers, but instead it's kind of like a wake-up call to just relook at your industry landscape and how people are pricing their items these days. I feel like as an artist, sometimes we just forget to do other things outside of creating and putting things out there. We don't really look at what other people are doing. So when I say increase your prices, I'm saying to find a fair price for your products. Making products is not easy. You have to design it. You have to work with manufacturers. You have to pay for shipping and everything else that's regarding just shipping your product out or showing your products off at a market. So you have to price your products for what they're worth, whether it's through your competitor's website, their Etsy, or just walking around a market. It's so easy to see what other people are pricing their products for. For example, if you are selling stickers for $1 and then you walk around the market or you're going through your competitor's website and they sell it for $3, you're missing out on those extra $2, especially when your product is the same quality and same size and everything. You're missing out and you're underpricing on your products. And you're probably saying like, oh, it's just $2. But if you're looking at it at a grand scheme of things and you're keeping your price at $1 versus your competitor at $3, it's gonna take you 10 stickers sold to make $10, whereas your competitor only needs to sell 3 or 4 stickers to make the same amount. So you're probably leaving money on the table. For me, I was stuck at around $100 or so per market when I first started being at markets, and that's only because I wasn't pricing my products right. I feel like after just walking around and seeing my competitors and how they price their stuff, and then I matched it, I started seeing my revenue skyrocket for each market. And I think a wake-up call for me to increase my prices as well, besides seeing the low revenue per market and losing on profitability, but multiple customers actually came to my table before and said that I was really lowballing on myself. And these were also just other artists as well. I saw that I was selling my pins at one point $6 and I should be pricing it a little bit higher. just because they've been to other like conventions or other markets that were similar to things that I sell, and they like straight up told me that I was not pricing it correctly and it's worth a lot more. And this wasn't just like one or two people, it was just multiple people from multiple different markets. So I was like, okay, people are willing to pay my pins at this price. And so that's what I did. And people are still buying it. So it's not that like people will only buy your stuff if it's like cheap. They will still buy it if it's worth whatever they think it should be worth. Next tip is to listen to the data. I feel like when it comes to small business, or any business for that matter, data is key. It should be driving a majority of your decisions, from where you're spending the most, where you're making the most, what are your top categories, or what are your top items. When I first started my small business, I wanted to test out 3 categories: stickers, pins, and keychains. When you think about reinvesting, it's the data that's going to tell you what to do next. What I like to look at is top line. Which item is driving me the most money? But at the same time, what item is helping me drive the most profitability? I feel like products and categories can help you make a lot of money, but do they actually make you back money enough to reinvest? And so that's why I like to see that profitability number. So for example, if your pins take, $4 for you to make, you sell it at $6, so really you make only $2. And is that $2 enough for you to reinvest? So while you're thinking of that, you probably have 2 decisions that you have to make. Whether you, one, have to price a little bit higher so that you can increase that profitability, or you just have to stop buying that product overall because it's not making you enough money. But my suggestion is to never say never on something. There's always a, solution to things, unless it really just does not sell. But in this case of the pins not making enough profitability, there are other ways that you can kind of raise the price. For one, you can just simply raise the price. But 2, you can sell it in a bundle, so you can, 1, sell more inventory, and 2, raise the price. You can do pin on pin bundles. You can do pin and get a X amount off for your next item, whether it's sticker or keychain or whatever you have in your assortment. And that way you don't necessarily have to say no to a product anymore, and you can still grow your profitability. And same thing for just category data analyses. Is this category profitable for me, or should I just move on and do something new? I feel like there are so many times I have invested in trying out a new category, for example, my notepads, and I realized no one really wants them, or at least not from me. So I decided that I'm just going to invest more in a different category that is more profitable for me. And next tip is to build community. And I know that sounds really cliche, but it is definitely crucial when you're running a small business, especially when you're an online small business owner. I feel like none of my social accounts, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, is ever humongous. In fact, it's still so small to this day, but I feel like it has the right people. I feel like when you're running a small business, there's so many ups and downs, and there are so many moments where you just want to quit. I definitely feel that way on a daily basis. I feel like I'm like, what if I just quit today? But it's always the community that you're in that's going to keep you going. It's the people who are like-minded and ambitious as you are that's gonna make you wanna try harder. Every time I see my small business friends win or succeed or show off their business, 1, I am so happy for them. But 2, I'm like, oh, I need to work harder so that I can get there one day too. So it's a good balance of like happiness for them, but also a little jealousy. I remember like the first couple of years of my small business, it was honestly really lonely because I was mainly an online seller. So in the past year or so, I really put myself out there and started going to more markets, talking to more small business owners in real life, catching up with my online friends, and just overall engaging more with everyone. And it really helped when it came to best practices in the business, or just having, second opinions on ideas. So try your best to be in a community and surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up and help you build yourself up mentally so you can run your small business. So those are all the kind of tips and mindset shifts that I've had in the past few years to really skyrocket my business. I swear the first year or so, maybe 2 years, was just a dump in the fire for my small business, but I really saw it grow as I, went through all of these tips that I listed. So if you're a small business yourself, hopefully you learned a little bit today and hopefully you can apply it for your small business. But until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this.